glasses of champagne in hand, pretending generosity came easily. It was Boston's most glamorous night, the annual charity gala, a room full of people who spoke about helping the poor while wearing jewelry worth more than most families made in a year. But not everyone came to celebrate. For one young woman, this night would change everything and reveal a cruelty that money could never hide. This is the story of Jasmine Washington, a 24-year-old Harvard student, and how one arrogant woman tried to humiliate her and lost everything instead. Jasmine worked part-time as a waitress to pay for her last semester at Harvard. Her uniform was spotless, her smile polite, her movements graceful and careful, every step practiced. She'd grown up on the south side of Chicago, raised by a single mother who worked 3 jobs: nurse's aide, cleaner, caregiver. There wasn't much money, but there was pride. Her mother taught her early. Dignity costs nothing, but it's worth everything. So Jasmine learned to carry herself with quiet strength, to stand tall, even when people tried to make her feel small. That night, as she moved through the crowd of Boston's elite, she felt invisible, and that was fine, because she wasn't there to impress anyone. She was there to work, earn her pay, and go home. Across the room stood Victoria Hartwell, wife of real estate magnate Robert Hartwell. She was beautiful, elegant, and cruel. Victoria was known for her designer gowns, her diamond bracelets, and her sharp tongue. She had money, connections, and the kind of arrogance that comes from never being told no. And when she saw Jasmine, a young black waitress in a white uniform, she didn't see a person. She saw a target. Jasmine approached with a tray of champagne flutes. Victoria stepped into her path, too suddenly to be an accident. The tray tilted and red wine splashed across Jasmine's uniform like blood on snow. Victoria gasped dramatically, clutching her chest. "Oh dear, you people really should watch where you're going." The room went quiet. A few guests laughed softly. Others just looked away, unwilling to get involved. Jasmine's cheeks flushed, but her voice stayed calm. "I'm sorry, ma'am. I'll take care of it," she said, lowering her head slightly. That calmness, that grace, made Victoria furious. She wanted a reaction, so she raised her voice. "Maybe next year they'll hire someone more refined," she said loudly enough for the room to hear. A few guests laughed awkwardly. Jasmine stayed silent. She picked up the tray, turned, and walked away with steady steps, her heart pounding, her dignity intact. In the staff room, Jasmine exhaled. She looked at the red stain on her uniform and whispered, "Don't react. Just observe." Because what Victoria didn't know was that Jasmine was recording the entire night, not for revenge, but for her MBA thesis on racial discrimination in professional settings. Her small microphone, clipped inside her name tag, had caught every word. When Jasmine returned in a spare uniform, Victoria was surrounded by her group of wealthy friends. Laughing like high school bullies in designer heels, they went silent as Jasmine passed. Victoria smirked. "Oh, look, she's back. Tell us, sweetheart, can you even read this?" She held out the printed menu like a test. Jasmine looked her in the eye. "With pleasure," she said softly. Then she began to read, fluent French. Perfect pronunciation. Calm, confident tone. The entire room froze. Even the violinist stopped playing. When she finished, she handed the menu back and smiled. "Would you like me to translate it, ma'am?" The silence that followed was heavy. Victoria's fake smile cracked. Her friends looked away, embarrassed, and across the room, Robert Hartwell, her husband, had seen everything. He didn't say a word, but his face said it all. Later that night, as the gala ended, Jasmine stepped outside for a moment of air. Behind her, the laughter continued, hollow, forced, tired. A voice spoke softly. "Miss Washington?" It was Robert Hartwell. He stood there, his expression calm but serious. "I saw what happened," he said. "And I'm sorry my wife has no excuse for what she did." Jasmine nodded politely. "Thank you, sir. But I've learned something. People show who they are when they think no one's watching." Robert studied her. You're not just a waitress, are you? She smiled faintly. No, sir. I'm finishing my MBA at Harvard. My thesis focuses on discrimination in leadership. Robert exhaled. You might be exactly the kind of person my company needs. Jasmine thanked him and returned to work, unaware that her quiet strength had just changed her life. A week later, Boston woke up to chaos. Headlines everywhere read, "Leaked audio exposes racial harassment at elite charity gala." Every cruel word Victoria had spoken played on the news. On talk shows, across social media, the audio spread faster than wildfire. People were furious. Celebrities spoke out. Charities pulled funding. Sponsors withdrew their names. Victoria's reputation shattered overnight. Her friends stopped calling. Her social club revoked her membership. Even her hairstylist canceled her appointments. She went from high society's darling to its disgrace. Meanwhile, Robert released a statement. Our company stands for equality and respect. Discrimination has no place in our leadership, and his first move? Hiring Jasmine Washington as the new diversity and inclusion consultant for Hartwell Development. A month later, Jasmine walked through the glass doors of the company's headquarters, not as a waitress, but as a Harvard graduate. Her navy blue suit fit perfectly. Her head was high. Every eye in the office followed her with quiet admiration. In the conference room, she stood before the leadership team, many of whom had seen the viral story. My goal isn't revenge, she began. It's progress, she paused, letting her words settle. Everyone deserves respect, no matter where they start. Because power without empathy isn't leadership. It's insecurity. The room fell silent. And for the first time in that company's history, people actually listened. Months passed. Jasmine transformed the company's culture. She created mentorship programs, inclusive hiring practices, and leadership training built on empathy and awareness. News outlets picked up the story again. This time, not as scandal, but as inspiration. Jasmine began consulting for other major companies, traveling across the country to speak about equality and resilience. She appeared on talk shows, podcasts, and panels, not as a victim, but as a voice for change. Her message was simple. Dignity isn't something people give you. It's something you keep, even when they try to take it away. As for Victoria Hartwell, her empire of influence collapsed quietly. She tried to issue apologies, but no one believed her anymore. Her charity board voted her out. Her husband filed for separation, and her name became a lesson. Whispered, not celebrated. She learned the hard way that when you try to humiliate others, the only person you truly destroy is yourself. Months later, another gala took place in Boston. Same chandeliers, same orchestra, same air of wealth and pride. But this time, something was different. Jasmine Washington stood on the stage as the keynote speaker. She looked out at the crowd, the same kind of people who once ignored her. Her voice was steady, clear, powerful. Respect, she said, isn't about status. It's about seeing people, really seeing them. Because the person serving your drink tonight might be the one writing your company policy tomorrow. The audience rose to their feet in applause. Jasmine smiled softly. She had come full circle. This isn't just a story about racism or privilege. It's a story about dignity and the quiet strength that refuses to break. Never judge someone by the job they have. Never mistake kindness for weakness, because the person you look down on today might be the one who lifts others tomorrow. Jasmine didn't fight back with anger. She fought back with grace, and in doing so, she became something greater than successful. She became respected.